Kirby, Kirby, Kirby. You thought, and you really, I mean really thought you was going to get away with this. And that's what's so mind-boggling to me. The fact you even thought for a second it was going to work. To be one of the best recruiters in the country, one of the best defensive masterminds in the country, you still shock me with some of the stuff you do. I know exactly what you're sitting there thinking. I'd be thinking the same exact thing. Yo, Matt, what in the heck is going on with Georgia and what are you talking about? First things first, before we jump into anything, let's take a look at this. The Georgia football cycle. Step 1, pull another elite recruiting class. Check. Step 2, beat up on clearly inferior opponents. Check. Step 3, get massively overhyped by the media. Check. And step 4, choke in the most critical moments of the season. Check. That's what y'all do against Bama every single year. As an Alabama fan, I'm going to tell you a little story that happened before the game. It was actually Saturday morning, in matter of fact, and I was telling the guy how I wasn't too confident, but I'm never going to doubt and bet against Nick Saban, so I'm picking Alabama to win. We got to talking some more, and I told him, you know what, I feel like this is Georgia's dream season. You know how Clemson had one where they went undefeated, LSU had one last year, or a couple years ago, my bad, and Alabama had one last year. It seemed like this was that type of year for Georgia. I continued to tell the guy I was going to feel bad if Alabama beat Georgia and spoiled their perfect season because Georgia fans, they need this. They needed that win because they're tired of losing to Alabama in dramatic fashion. They've been up double digits in almost, 3 or 4 straight meetings? Even in this game Saturday, they was up 10-0. The only thing I'm going to say about it, as much as I felt like Georgia fans needed this, it never gets old as an Alabama fan seeing Kirby Smart disappoint his fans. There's not really a good place to start this video, so I'm just going to pick a random point. Let's go all the way back to their game against Alabama Saturday when they was down 14 points. In the first half, Stetson Bennett wasn't playing out of his mind, but he was doing a A-OK job and he was keeping them in the game. The second half was a little bit of a different story. It was arguably one of the worst halves of his entire career. Around the mid to late third quarter, the offense for Georgia was stalling, and a lot of people were speculating that JT Daniels could come in at any time. I was thinking that too, and I'm talking about before the interception. The fact he didn't put him in after the interception, well, we're going to touch on that in a second. Kirby Smart has one good characteristic, but it can sometimes be bad. And what I'm talking about is he is going to ride or die with his players. Even though that's good and you want a coach like that, it can sometimes turn out to be bad. He believes in his players so much, he sometimes gets single-minded and loses touch with reality. I think we can all agree JT Daniels, well, 1, he should have started, but 2, he should have came in before the interception, and the fact he didn't even go in after the interception is mind-boggling. Do I think Georgia would have overcame a 21-point deficit if JT would have entered the game? Absolutely not. There would have been zero chance. So what's the point of even putting JT in? Because it's the principle. The definition of insane is continuing to do the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I don't even want to label him as insane, but if you continue to start Stetson Bennett against Alabama and expect a different result, that's what you are. You're insane. It's clear as day. I predicted it the day before the game and called it out perfectly. To make a long story short, Bennett is not that guy. In this video, I'm not going to ridicule him and criticize him. I've done that enough. We're going to take a look at something else that is the real reason Georgia is in deep trouble going forward. I'm seeing this narrative thrown out there all the time on Twitter, Instagram, and I even saw an article about it. And that narrative is that Georgia's problem isn't Stetson Bennett or JT Daniels, it's the defense. They lost because they gave up 41. No, and no 1,000 times. And let me explain, that is completely false. I'm not putting that loss on the defense one bit, and here's why. You can be the greatest defense in the world like Georgia was supposed to be, but I'm going to tell you something that is 100% facts. It's so depressing for the defensive players to not believe the offense can score and keep up with the other team if they need to. I'm not too sure if some of you forgot or you didn't watch the second half. Georgia's defense got 3 straight 3-and-outs and held Alabama to a possession time of 4.5 minutes. They got the ball back to Stetson Bennett 3 or 4 times in a row without Alabama scoring, and the offense couldn't do nothing. I found this tweet and it says it perfectly. Stetson Bennett and Daniels' talk isn't about the defense not stopping Bama. It's about the quarterback not being able to pick up the slack and keep up while Bama was scoring. There was a point when the defense did its job a few series in a row, but the offense couldn't capitalize. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. You can't expect your defense to hold everybody to 7 points every single game. There's going to have to be 1, 2, maybe 3 games where the offense helps out. Georgia's offense never helps them out. I hate how everyone's trying to overthink it. Stop doing it. It's simple. The controversy with Georgia is the quarterbacks, not the defense. It's between Kirby Smart, JT Daniels, and Stetson Bennett. Stop trying to reverse it. Of course, I'm not stupid. I understand Alabama diced them up and could have more than likely scored 48 or 50 if they wanted to. As a defensive player, and I know we got some people who either played defense in high school or you currently play defense, isn't it not depressing knowing you don't have a good offense? If you see your offense keeping up with the other team, it's going to motivate you more. That's why they look so good throughout the season. Georgia's players, fans, coaches, everybody around the program knew if they got down by more than 10 points, it'd be almost impossible to come back. I don't think the players have bought into Stetson Bennett. I think the only person who believes in his hype is Kirby. It's pretty bad and scary when your own players know the best player isn't even out there, and that's JT Daniels. Speaking of JT Daniels, that leads me into my next point perfectly. This is actually going to be the main point of the video and why Georgia is in deep trouble going into the playoffs in my opinion. It goes back to the game Saturday. Why not put JT in? You weren't going to win anyways when you was down 21 points. What's it going to hurt? Give him some reps. Since Kirby Smart, your Lord and Savior, didn't give JT any reps in that game, by the time, let's say he starts in their next game, which is the 31st, that's going to be a full 10 to 12 weeks since the last time he's played meaningful snaps. Currently, as to when I'm speaking, I believe he hasn't played in 7 weeks and the playoffs in 4, so it's going to be right at 11. And as much as I think JT is head and shoulders above Stetson Bennett, I don't care who you are. If you don't play for 12 weeks, you're going to be rusty. He's not even going to get a warm-up game either. He's going to be playing one of the best defenses in the country in Michigan. It's going to be a tough game to be your first game in 12 weeks if he starts or plays. And guess what? Kirby knows that, so he's in one of the toughest situations of all time. Do I either A, rock with Stetson Bennett, who is a mediocre quarterback, but if our defense plays good, we could somehow sneak out a win, or do I B, go with JT Daniels, who's been hurt his entire career? It's so hard to. I know I've been knocking Kirby a lot, and he's been getting a lot of backlash, but I don't think he's purposely trying to lose these games. It's a tough decision. At the same time, that's the reason he gets paid $10 million. He has to make the right decision and the tough ones. Let's take a look at Daniel's stats this year. He has 700 yards, 7 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, a QBR of 86.4. Not too bad. Taking a look at Bennett's, he has 2,300 yards, 24 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, a QBR of 86.7. I'd say their stats, they're similar. If you watch both of these guys play, it's not similar. Stetson Bennett has a mediocre arm, or you could even say he has a below average arm, and JT Daniels has one of the best arms in the country. The dude can launch the ball 80 yards down the field like it's nothing, and that's what Georgia was lacking against Alabama. On the other hand, for Bennett, he brings the dual threat quarterback and he can run around and scramble. I want to give some credit to Bennett too. He made a couple of throws in that Bama game. I was like, okay, he's looking solid, but then he'll throw a pick 6 and you're like, dude, we got to move on. If you had to ask me, I think starting JT Daniels against Bama or Michigan, it is more risky, but I mean, look at Nick Saban. It was risky for him to kick an onside kick in a national championship game against Clemson. It was risky to bench your starter who was the SEC Freshman of the Year in Jalen Hurts and go with Tua Tagovailoa. Wait, Jalen wasn't a freshman that year. That was his second year, but still, you get the point. Sometimes you gotta roll the dice, and it may backfire, but you'll never know if you don't roll it. I'm gonna put it this way. You're not winning jack squiddly crap with Stetson Bennett at quarterback. You got nothing to lose if you play JT Daniels. You can beat up on Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Vanderbilt. You can stomp all those teams with Bennett. You're not going to do that in the playoffs. And if you want to keep it real, does Georgia even deserve to be in the playoffs now that I think about it? They beat one ranked team all year in Clemson who's still not even that good. Besides that, who'd they beat? Arkansas maybe? They're still not all that good. After that embarrassing performance against Alabama, and yes, that's right, I said embarrassing, that's what it was. You shouldn't be in there. Guess what? I got some good news. You got a second chance at life, Kirby. You're in the playoffs. So don't screw it up twice. I got a question for you guys. Do you think Kirby would be dumb enough if they win their game and Alabama wins their game to start Stetson Bennett a third straight time against Alabama? That would be crazy. He's a walking lick. Every time he plays Alabama, he throws 2 to 3 interceptions. And guess what? Stetson Bennett could drink some Michael Jordan secret stuff and go out there and dominate the college football playoffs. But I wouldn't put money on it, and I gotta see it to believe it. I also want to throw in there that his confidence, I'm talking about Bennett, it's got to be at an all-time low. When you got your own fan base hating on you and you're about to go into another big-time game and matchup, you can't be feeling too high. If you're an athlete, you know what I'm talking about. This sport, whether you're talking about football, baseball, basketball, any sport, it's almost 80% mental. If you're confident, you're going to play good. If you're not confident, you're not going to play good. It's as simple as that. I think I'm going to wrap up this video and end it off there. Kirby Smart, you're in some deep trouble, my boy. You can either A, play Stetson Bennett, who is not going to lead you to a national championship, or B, rock with the guy you should have been playing the entire season, but the downside of that, he hasn't played in 12 weeks, and he's probably going to be a little rusty. I mean this 100%. I would not want to be in his shoes. Let me know what you think about this down below in the comment section. But with that being said, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family, hit that subscribe button, and leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, yo. Peace.